Sinonge, Rundu Urban Constituency Councillor, and the Chairperson of Kavango East Regional Council. I hope that all of us have been introduced already, and let me use this opportunity to welcome you to Kavango Regional Council, and I hope that Honorable Chairperson of the ICT Parliamentary Committee, Honorable Sebastian Karupu, and the other member present here, that today we are engaging with you for the importance of the visit towards the ICT implementation in the region. Therefore, I acknowledge your presence, honorable members, so that we can engage. And I can see that the MDC also is here, so we engage based on our deliverance of towers or information based on your office, and also to get advice from the Standing Committee on ITC who are present here in the leadership of Honorable Sebastian Karupu. Therefore, I will give the floor to the Chairperson of the committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Stefan Shinonge, the Chairperson of the Kavango East Regional Council, for welcoming us to the Kavango Regional Council boardroom. As you rightly have introduced my name is Sebastian Karupu. I am leading this delegation in my capacity as a chairperson of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Information and Communication Technology. I'm leading number of 5 members of Parliament and officials of Parliament who have already introduced themselves. Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Shumali, you are a little bit far. I almost counted you as a member of Parliament, but maybe you are very soon you become a member of Parliament. Yes. And Madam Silima, the Director of Education in Kavango East Region. I must first extend our appreciation to the Honorable Governor, Honorable Hamnyera Hambyuka, who has received the Standing Committee this morning together with the Honorable Chairperson here. We find it problem since we started, not problem, difficult maybe I can say, since we started in July, because we started in Kunene. We hardly met the regional governor just to report ourselves to pay a call. But it happened here in Kavango East. The governor met us. In Wangwena, the chairperson met us of the council. Because I took leave, I could not attend the one in Oskoto. I'm not sure who have welcomed my colleagues there. But in Kavango West, we were received by the Chief Regional Officer as the one who was delegated by the Honorable Governor, who could also not be with us due to other commitment. But that's why I'm extending our appreciation to the Honorable Governor of Kavango East Region on behalf of the team for availing himself to brief him and also for him to brief us and all give his side. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, our coming here is specifically to assess the progress on the towers that were erected by MTC in the region we visited. As I said, we visited Kunene, we visited Ohangwena, we visited Oshikoto, we visited Kavango West. This is now the last region which we are visiting for this mission. That is to assess the progress on the towers and the free Wi-Fi provided to the most remote rural area, schools and clinics. In other regions, these services were provided to schools, primary schools, and clinics. But in Kavango East Region, they only identified one primary school, no clinics. As a result, we have to come to the Kavango Regional Council, Kavango East Regional Council, to first get the first-hand information from stakeholders. That is the service provider, MTC, the ministry under which ICT falls, that's the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology. They are the one that were always supposed to present first. But in this today, we must shift it. I was just informed that MTC, a colleague from MTC, has received bad news, and we have to give him opportunity to present first and then leave. Thereafter, that's when we go continue with the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology. If Telecom is here, is it Telecom? I mean, yeah, if they are also here, they can also do their presentation. According to our schedule here, the other stakeholder, like Minister of Health and Social Services and Education, were supposed to do their presentation from 14 hours to 16 hours. So, but if terms allows, we can finish even before that 14 hours, if terms allows, because education is already here and health was not made part of this engagement because they are not the beneficiary from the Universal Service Commission, fund. This is what brought us here, Honorable Chair. We, after these briefings, after these presentations, tomorrow we'll go to the only one school that was identified as a beneficiary to the Universal Service Fund tomorrow, to see ourselves whether it has given an impact on educational activities in that school. This is what brought us. I would like to thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, for joining us, and Honorable Kashmala for joining us from the Kavango Regional Council, Kavango East Regional Council. I'm told the Chief Regional Officer is busy in another boardroom, chairing another meeting. And she delegated the Director of Education to stand in for her as acting Chief Regional Officer. Maybe you become very soon Chief Regional Officer, Madam Director.
Congratulations.
So once again, thank you very much. Without wasting time, I would like to invite first, maybe extend our sincere condolences to Mr. Tuafeni for the loss of your as a grandmother, be strength, and if you still have got that strength, please give us your presentation. Thank you very much. Do come, okay.
Oh, okay. Is that the pointer? Okay, yeah. Is the light? Okay. Okay. Honorable members, our regional leaders and the stakeholders, good morning once again.
Good morning.
My name is Tuafeni Erastus. I'm the coordinator for network development in MTC. Well, before I go to the presentation, I think it's befitting to just go through what brought us. There is a levy that operators pay to CREN, and that money goes under Universal Fund COFA. And normally CREN uses this money to help operators in building infrastructure, especially where the operators will not see the need to build towers because it's not commercially viable for them. So because this money was not enough, the government also injected some money through the Ministry of ICT. So CREN gave out a tender. The phase one had 9 towers, and all the 9 towers were given to MTC to construct. And one of the conditions for that tender was when you build the tower, you also want to make sure that you connect the nearby schools and the nearby clinics to internet for 7 years. Okay, and like Honorable Karupu has indicated, we started in Kunene where we built 2 towers, Ohangwena 1, Oshikoto 1, Kavango West being the last born, got a good share of 4 towers, and in Kavango East, we have built 1. I think the village is called Shanyashi. Okay. But despite the fact that we are here for that, it's also fair enough for us to give you just a helicopter view of the entire Kavango East region in terms of MTC footprints. Okay. We can go to the next slide, sir. The other one was just about MTC, of which I believe you know already that we are the leading mobile operator and we are transforming into a digital service provider. Okay, I would like to confine myself to Kavango East. We have 53 sites, and by sites it can be towers that we have built as MTC. It can be towers that we are leasing from other operators, such as Telecom, which is now Powercom. And it can also be infrastructure that we have put on rooftops, like the one you will see, is it Rundu Private Hospital? You will see some antennas there. We have also tried to make use of the water reservoirs that we have leased from the town council. So together, it's 53, which is way better than Kavango West, where it was at 39. I've tried to indicate how many sites are having 2G, how many sites are having 3G, how many of them are having 4G. Of course, you have heard that we launched 5G last year, and we have one site here in Kehemu that has 5G, and the process is still ongoing. The project of deploying our equipment for 5G is still ongoing. Well, many a times when we talk about these Gs, the generations of technology, we are likely not to get the appreciation that we deserve, simply because at times people do not really understand as to what we mean by 2G. 2G is the technology that came first. Back then, we only used to call and send SMSs. Then later, we went to 3G. There, at least, you could access internet. It was not that fast, but 4G is now the fastest technology, not the fastest because we still have 5G. But as we speak, because most of the sites are having 4G is dominating and it's very powerful. That's why we can now do our TikToks and WhatsApp without any problems. So now, why am I explaining this? It's important to explain this so that we just have a proper appreciation to say, out of all the 53 sites, 50 of them are equipped with 4G, meaning of our people are enjoying the connectivity that we are talking about here. Okay. In terms of 4G population coverage, yes, there is also 2G, there is 3G, but my focus is more on 4G because as an operator, we are requested by CREN that we should do away with 2G, we should do away with 3G, and we should make sure that we put more effort into making sure that all our towers are equipped with 4G. And that's why I'm displaying the population coverage by constituencies. And this can also bring problems. You know, someone will see 100% population coverage, and still say, but our people are still complaining. And here you are telling us that we have 100% population coverage. So what we mean by this is not geographical coverage. This is where our masses, where the people are staying. And that is what the system look at. Obviously, you will drive to some spots where you have no network or coverage. But that is not geographical coverage. But ideally, we would want to one day realize a country where wherever you go, you should be connected. Okay, if we look at the states, we can see that Ndiona and Mashare constituencies are a bit lacking compared to other constituencies. Okay, I also try to bring in the uptake. Yes, it's good to have all these services to the disposal of our people, but are they really taking these services? Is the uptake there? And you will see that Kavango East, it's not that bad compared to other regions. We are around 80% for 2G, and you will see that for 4G, we are still getting there, and we understand why. One of the problems being our people don't have devices that can allow them to connect to internet. Most of them are still having Tamagotchis, and that's why you would realize that for 2G at least we have a good number, because that one allows them to connect to 2G, and they all have those devices. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, just to give you a snapshot of what we have done in Rundu, as I was explaining today to the governor, that the demand for connectivity in Rundu is very high. You might realize that you have bars on your phone, but the network might be cutting. You might be calling, but the calls are dropping. It's because the network is congested. So what did we do as a company? We said, well, it can be very expensive to build towers, but we can come up with a cheaper solution, whereby we decided that let's come up with a structure that looks like a street lamp. We have our lamp there, and we also just put on our network infrastructure. And that's why if you drive around Rundu, our new location there, Chinka Valley, you will see that there is one. That is the picture on my left-hand side. And on the right-hand side is the picture I took at Marcus Ihemba Primary School. And we have others at locations like Tumweneni and Kaisosi. That is to make sure that our people don't only have coverage, but they have quality services. It doesn't help you have coverage, but you don't have proper services. It must not be loading, it should be fast. So those are the efforts that as a company, we are trying to engage in. We can go to the next slide. The other one we have built at this site of Kasote, at the school called Christian Joseph Yambo. It's already completed. The only thing that is left there is now for us to install equipment, then our people should be enjoying their services there. These are some of the areas that we have identified that are a bit having challenges with the network, and we are trying to make sure that we close that gap. We have also realized that this side of Sikanduko, the population is also growing, and that's why the picture that is on my right-hand side is actually a mobile that we have deployed at Sun City at Kavango Center of Excellence. It's a trailer, it had wheels, then our people came for shopping, so that's why it's looking like that today. We also tried to look at Divundu. Divundu is also growing very fast. We have opened our shop there. And not only did we open our shop, we also tried to make sure that connection-wise, they are also not complaining. Our tower is a bit far from where the town is. So we approached the village council to say, can we make use of the water reservoir? And we were granted approval. And today, as we speak, we have installed equipment there, and the network should be better in Divundu. I know the governor said we were a bit concentrated in the urban areas. No. We are just chewing the elephant small, in small pieces. So the entire region is on our radar. And while the government is trying to make sure that we get towers in remote areas, we are also trying to make sure that in towns, we are equally covered. Okay. Now, the other thing that we have also done, we have tried to invest in fiber. And equally, it's important for us to explain the mediums of transmission. How do we bring the signal to a town or to a particular tower? It's either we put up dishes on both sides of the towers, two towers communicate to each other, or we build a fiber line. And where is the difference? The wireless one is a bit sensitive. If it's raining, you might experience some problems. In terms of capacity, we are also limited in terms of the traffic that we can carry. So that's why we have tried to make sure that most of our towers, the fiber came all the way from Enana, Kurenkuru, all the way to Rundu. And all the towers that are alongside the road, we also try to make sure that we connect them to this fiber. And in the town of Rundu, we also made sure that all these sites are connected to fiber, which make it easy for us to accommodate the needs of our customers. And perhaps that's why you would realize that the network is very fast in Rundu. I'm not sure, but we'll get to know. Okay, that was just an explanation. We can go. Okay, back to what brought us. What brought us is actually the USF project. And like it was indicated by our chairperson, we built one in Kavango East, and it's in Shanyashi village in Mukwe constituency. I understand the school is renamed. I still have Korokosha Primary School, but I understand that is no more the name. So that school is one of the beneficiaries of free Wi-Fi for 7 years. The picture is just to show you that it's true, the tower is standing and our people are connected. It's a 60-meter guy mast tower as it stands there. Okay, you can proceed. I was only trying to give you the radius because many a times we get questions in terms of how far the tower can go. So I just tried to give you this diagram to show you the radius. And it's equally important to explain that the tower is constantly shouting to the phones, okay? And the nearer you are, the better you can hear it, is it? So equally is the same. As you go far, the signal becomes weak and weak. So if you are within a 7-kilometer radius, obviously you will have a strong signal. But the good part is, if you go far, you will be catered for by other towers like that. There is a Shinyungwe tower there. There is another tower again this side, which we call Levi, and Nyangana Conservancy. So that's how they help each other. The moment you go far, you get handed over to another tower. Okay, you can proceed. Okay, the last slide is just the challenges that we are experiencing as the operator. While we are trying to solve certain problems, we are also introduced to new problems. One of the challenges being the vandalism and theft. Like I indicated there, my trailer came with tires, wheels, and all of a sudden, one day we showed up and the tires are not there. And everywhere we go, we always preach to our leaders to always encourage and sensitize our people. Because it's just fair enough that it's embedded in them that this infrastructure is purely theirs. All these efforts that we are putting in, it's actually to bring services closer to them. And it's just fair enough that we guard our infrastructure. We also have constant power interruption, and I'm sure we are familiar to this. Now and then the power goes, then we have to struggle, but as a company, we always try to make sure that we can't let our customers suffer. Whenever there is power interruption, we always have our technicians running around with generators to make sure that we have network while the utility is to restore the power. 2G, 3G sunset. That is just what I explained here, that the operator is expecting us to do away with 2G and 3G. But however, the moment we shut down 2G, it means we are leaving our customers behind. Because all those people that don't have smartphones will no longer have connectivity. So to us, it's a challenge because that speaks to us finding ways to flood the market with cheap smartphones. And yes, it's good that we also have our lawmakers to look into subsidizing some of these devices to make sure that everyone has access to a smartphone. We also have land acquisition challenges. These problems are everywhere. Sometimes you get land, and after 3 years when the tower is standing, someone that gave you consent will come back and say, but you said you will come back and you never came back. You promised me something. Yes, so those are some of the challenges we get. And equally also, because the land acquisition process has steps, if you get approval from the headman, you equally need consent from the traditional authority in order for you now to launch an application with the communal land board. You would realize that at times we are stuck in between there, whereby the traditional authorities are not willing to give us those letters because they believe they are also doing some admin work. So where are they going to get their bread from? So they also want to lease the land out. But however, the law doesn't make provision for that. The law states that you must lease the land from the land board. So maybe our lawmakers will also look into that. With that, I think we are good to go to questions and engage further.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tuafeni, for the presentation. So, any questions, comments, honorable members, on the presentation? Yeah, we're starting with the chairperson of Kavango East Regional Council, Honorable Snonge.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for the Standing Committee. I just want to come back to Mr. Tangeni. Mr. Tangeni, if you can give attention towards the questions or advice. I just want to put my effort on your presentation that wherever you found yourself that you are maybe having a problem with the traditional authority based on a space for a land to get a consent letter so that you can put a tower. At least let's communicate maybe with the councillors also, and the councillor engage also with you and the traditional authority. Then we see how we can make it a bit faster than to go alone and find out yourself. Because later you will see that maybe you just want a plot to sit your farm. They will not understand, you see. Therefore, if you go through those structure, then it will assist you. I just want to ask you that if you can do that, then it will be very much better, especially to contact the councillors or the principals who are very close to that traditional authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Mbundu.
Thank you very much. 1, 2. So thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Mine is just a quick one. So more related to the land. But I just wanted to ask Mr. Feni about the tower that you erected on the top of the water tank in Rundu. So in terms of, I got the question, the answer in terms of land challenge, but I just want to certify that because of land, that's why you erected that tower on top of the water tank? Or that is a proper location for the networking? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Honorable David Christian Aikop. My question to MTC, to Afeni, thank you so much for your presentation. I'd just like to get an indication of the total funds that have been spent in erecting the tower so far. What have you spent from the Universal Service Fund? And the circulation of funds within the local construction sector, how much of the funds were circulating through the use of local contractors in these specified localities? And then just a technical one, the land pole sites, in terms of coverage and signal strength, is it only working well for urban areas, or is it also something that could be considered for rural areas? Thank you.
Through the chairperson, my colleagues have a bit touched my question. I just need to amplify on it. Mr. Tuafeni, it's also prior to what you have said. You said the coverage here in Rundu is very, very good. But according to my source here, is giving me that out of 188 schools in Kavango East, is only 21 schools that are properly connected to the high-speed internet. And I was also keen to hear from the Honorable Governor today morning that the teachers in the rural areas, some they are leaving, while the ones that are not even employed, they are also rejecting and denying to go work in those rural areas because of the situation. And also, now they are forced to send just anybody, whether with a qualification or not, for as long as the kids are attended to, which is very, very dangerous for our kids, because it means that the foundation of our kid is also not laid very well. It's very compromised, like my colleague saying here. So my first question is, why did you neglect or eliminate the rural areas? And now the second question is also, do you have any plans in regard to the network coverage in support of those teachers in the rural areas, the learners, and also the youth that are maybe searching for the job or just anything in that regard? Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Petrus Kashupali, the councillor for Mashare constituency. From the presentation, we have seen that Mashare constituency is the last in terms of network coverage, about 74%. Is it 73? Yes. It's worrisome. I just wanted to hear from MTC, maybe there's a donation coming to my constituency of a tower. If you have also followed the SORA, Honorable Governor indicated part of the constituency where we need that network connectivity. And these are people who are very far from most of the services, including the clinic. Now, these people must have connectivity so that if anything happens, because there's no clinic, they need to call the ambulance or any other service provider. It's a challenge. If anything like one tower, that area of Big Arquisa, we will appreciate. Also, in terms of some of the schools that are not yet covered, it reminds us of COVID-19. We've got the director here, deputy director. Of course, Mr. Nkandu is also dealing with these things. There was a time teachers were required to teach from home, or maybe learners to learn from home. It was a serious challenge because of connectivity. They could not do anything, but we had to improvise here and there, send papers home, but those papers, to get them, it was a challenge. So I think it's time we need to, this is also going to the standing committee, honorable members, if you can push. We should not look at the economical viability of these things, because wherever there's a learner, that learner needs network. Wherever there's a person, that person needs network. We are not living in the past where people had to walk a distance to visit the family members or relatives. Nowadays, we just make a call. And some people, especially in my constituency, are left out. Of course, there's also what they call schooling in schools these days. And some of these schools are not using the schooling. And the master of schooling is here. Maybe you also have a chance to say something. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mr. Tuatheni, from my other leg, we've learned about the passing of your grandmom. Our hearts are with you. Please be strong. I would like to ask, just probably latch or edge to a question that was already posed, and that is the water tank arrangement that you have currently happening in Rundu or Kavango East. Is that something that you envisage should be permanent, or is it just temporary? And then by what time frame, timelines do you probably think proper, in case that is your ideal, proper towers will be erected to cover, to make people accessible to the network that they so dire need to have? Because I know that network these days is a very important tool to stay connected. That was the other one, just edged to or latched to the question by the other colleagues. The other one is just an extension of the same question. Is this arrangement of the towers, the water tank arrangement, is it simply because you had it tough to get land from the people that own land, or is it because of budget constraints at this point in time when that consideration was done? The last one, my brother, is Rundu, I am sure, is one of the towns that qualify to have already upgraded to 5G in terms of numbers that they have here. Why hasn't that happened as yet? Is there some criteria that MTC is looking at before they decide to bring 5Gs to cities and to towns and to people? Just for me to know why didn't it happen as yet? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I'll only have two questions since I was told we will have a chance to present, so you will see most of our challenges as the regional council. But one would be on the tower sharing policy. According to all the towers after inspection, we came to a point where we see that tower sharing policy is not being followed in Kavango East. Second one is if there's a tower sharing policy for some where we have seen, we would see that MTC is the one which is placed on top, then other service providers comes at the bottom. But if you look at where the government started with towers, especially when 4G in 2011, government's supposed to be prioritized based on their government services they provide. MTC does not provide really government services. We get our government services through telecom. So at some places you'd have MTC tower, but there's no telecom tower. So I wanted to know if the tower sharing policy is followed so that it can eliminate some of the problems which are in Kavango. Thank you.
The Director of Education wanted also to come in. Yes, Madam Director.
Thank you, Chairperson. It's just a humble request to MTC. If you can just be present and then listen to our presentation. As it is already alluded by the members of parliament, a question was raised in terms of a school link. Right now, teachers are busy to print out report cards for the learners. I will not take you far. I will just take Joy Mungungu is within town. Rabana Mudi Senior Secondary School. Ndama South Primary School. For the teachers to access school link, unless if they are to come to Teachers Resource Center. Now, when a big number, when they are to come to Teachers Resource Center, we are not only talking about those 4 schools. Karukuvisa, which is outside town. Karukuvisa, Junior Primary, Tamtam, Zedan, as well as our school at Muse, Teros Woko, has to come to Rundu for them to access school link. Now, for Kavango East to be given 1 tower to benefit only 1 tower from this universal fund, this is not something that we definitely appreciate from MTC. We are supposed to at least be given, even if it's 2 or 3 from the universal fund, if I've listened to the presentation carefully. Because now my office is failing to meet my teachers' demand that they have to print out report cards on time by the time it is expected to be given to the learners. Teachers cannot work under frustration if we give them due dates. So we humbly request that if MTC, if you can just give us time after we have responded to the questions raised, if we can just do our presentation, then you can see the picture of Kavango East Region. We are among the regions that are really very much behind in terms of us accessing internet. Teachers cannot operate on 2G. 2G is most just these touch phones. What is the use of that? So we cannot now, our learners cannot be disadvantaged from receiving digitalized lessons. It's higher time that we migrate to better network, whether it's 3G or 4G. So this is just what I'm bringing under the attention of MTC. Thank you.
Yes, with that request and many questions, Mr. Tangeni, the floor is yours to.
It's
to have any. Angula, where is Angula? I think you should leave the room. Mr. Tuafeni, my apology once again.
All right. Thank you very much, Chairperson. I will start with the advice we got that whenever we are doing land acquisition, it's always important that we shake hands with all the stakeholders. And one of the stakeholders being the councillor of that particular area. That is well noted. With Devondu Water Tower, well, that is a temporary solution, but I would also like to make it clear that there is no problem in having it as a permanent site. But in case of Devondu, the complaints were just a lot. We could no longer wait for a tower to be constructed. I'm those of us that are from that area, Powercom is busy building a tower in the town itself of Divundu. So the moment the construction is done, we are going to move our equipment to the tower. So there is no need for MTC to build another tower because we are going to duplicate infrastructure. Okay. There was something again about the water tower. Okay, yeah, from Honorable April to say, now that we are going for water towers, is it because we don't have the money to build towers? Or is it perhaps the land that we are unable to get? Well, the water towers are only alternative infrastructure. And that's why at times we also go for rooftops. Yes, it will save us money. The money that we are supposed to use to build a tower here, and we put the equipment on the rooftop, we are going to use the very same money to build a tower in a nearby village or wherever. So, yes, there are times where we are unable to get land to put up a tower, and we say, look, there is a nearby water reservoir. Let's make use of it and save our people. Okay. Now, in terms of using our local contractors, yes, we use our contractors from the point of doing the environmental impact assessment. All the consultants that we use, it's Namibian companies. It comes to clearing the land and building the tower itself. It's all Namibian companies that are doing this for us. During the 081 project, we built a lot of towers and we made sure that we afford our people an opportunity to learn. And today we are confident enough to say we have companies out there that are able to perform this job, and we are giving it to them. You indicated, you also wanted to know about the figures in terms of what we have spent during this phase 1 project. I don't have the figures with me here, but they can be availed to you. There was a question about the lamp poles. To say, yes, you like the solution that we have deployed lamp poles around Rundu. But how about we also take these lamp poles in deeper villages there? Will they not work? Well, we will have a challenge. Like I have been explaining to the honorable members, that for a tower to get signal, it needs to speak to another tower. Now in town, these lamp poles are just receiving from this tower that is here by the NAMPost, because it's not far. Yes, but if we say we are going to put it at Jarajara, that lamp pole is too short, it won't work. Okay. The schools. There was a number given that there is a certain number of schools that are connected to internet. Then there is also a huge number that is not connected. I'm not sure whether I got the question correctly, because I remember when we were in Nohangwena, there were schools and health facilities that were connected to internet, but it's because they have a satellite dish on the school which is provided by Telecom. So by internet, are we meaning the Wi-Fi that you're having at school, or is it the mobile connectivity, you being able to make a call from your phone and also access internet from your phone using MTC mobile network. I'm not sure which one. The mobile one. Okay. Well, if it's the mobile one, the only way they can have access to internet is when there is a tower nearby. And this is one of the reasons that brought us here. It's about working together. MTC will not achieve this alone. And that's why you are seeing the government on board to make sure that when we are building a tower in Karas, the government is helping us to build another tower in Zambezi. And we do sympathize with the teachers that want to teach, but however, due to lack of connectivity, they are unable to do so as they would want to. Yes, we hear, and we have the states. We are constantly monitoring all the regions. And we would like to assure you that we are working towards making sure that everyone is connected. Yes, we cannot build all the towers today or tomorrow, but we are building them in phases as budget allows. Mashare, Honorable Councillor, has indicated that it's the last in terms of coverage. Are we perhaps having any donation? Honorable Councillor, I should say we don't have any donation, but obviously your constituency is enjoying attention in our planning boardrooms. We have the figures and we know where to take the next tower. Okay. Okay, there was another question about 5G. I've indicated that we have launched last year and the project is ongoing to make sure that we have 5G on all our towers across the country. Yes, we would want to have more than one in Rundu, but we'll get there. There are certain criteria we look at, and one being the number of devices that are able to connect to 5G. So we run a report and see where do we have a lot of devices that should we deploy 5G tomorrow are able to benefit from that tower. So that is one of the things we look at. But ideally, we would want to make sure that the entire country has 5G deployed. The tower sharing policy, the Act is very clear. We must not duplicate infrastructure. As operators, we must share. So no one will go and say, Operator B, why are you not on this tower? I have a tower here, but you are taking long to come. No, when budget allows, they will come. But we are open to share infrastructure. Same applies to telecom, and the infrastructure is managed by Powercom. We are allowed to access any tower of Powercom. It's up to us to say, will it work for us? Because there are locations where there is a tower, but we can see that even if we put infrastructure there, it might not work for us. But yes, we are sharing. In terms of whose equipment is on top, it's purely who came first. It has no order. It's not to say, because it's my tower, telecom, you must go down. It's not like that. And I'm not sure how you were able to tell that the one on top is for MTC, because the equipment are almost the same, but yeah. Okay, the last one is on the USF sites. To say, you have mentioned all these towers, mentioned 4 of them in Kavango West, and you come in Kavango East and MTC, you just built 1. No, you have not failed. It was not up to you. You have not failed your people. Neither did MTC fail. Like I indicated, it was a tender given to MTC. And MTC was already given locations. That this tower, you built it there. This one, you built it there. It was not up to MTC. And again, that is just under USF, the 1 tower now that is built in Shanyashi. MTC is still continuing with its program of making sure that we have infrastructure everywhere to have our people connected. So, yeah, we are not only limited to that 1 tower. I thank you.
Before follow up, I can see the honorable member want to come up. Allow me to welcome His Worship the Mayor, Honorable Ikirwa, and the Deputy Mayor, Honorable Nikare, the Chairperson of Rundu Town Council, Honorable Kamakende, Honorable Francisca Ausiku, my sister, and Honorable Marcellus. Yes, Mkue, my fellow teacher who were teaching together. It's our welcome. We understand that you were delayed by some engagements where you have got some engagements, but finally you are here. We appreciate your coming. First, we were not happy when you came here as visitors to wait for the host. Really, we expressed our dissatisfaction. But nonetheless, you are here, and we were told you were having some engagement. That's why you are late. Okay, any follow-up? Honorable April, Honorable Kerep, and yeah, only 2 for follow-up, and then I'm not sure whether Mr. Tuhafeni has accepted the request from the Director of Education to present, and then before you leave. Thank you very much. Honorable April, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the answer. It's just that I didn't get the angle I wanted to get in your response, so I'm just checking whether I wasn't clear. I know that you started the 5G very recently, but it's about a year now. So my question was specific to the context of the numbers that Rundu has, and my layman's conclusion that they may probably have exact or at least satisfactory number of the gadgets to utilize 5G should it come here. So I would actually believe that you are in charge of these things. So at this point in time, you would be having an exact reason as to why such has not yet happened for Rundu. That is basically very much specific to where we are now, context-wise. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Ofeni for your presentation and the clarity in the questions. I just have one small issue, Mr. Chairperson, and that's on the figures. So I would have loved and appreciated it if we as a committee were presented with figures in terms of what has been allocated to MTC to build the towers, the total number of towers constructed under that budget, and then the actual cost in terms of what MTC spent to build those towers, to help us to close the gap in understanding in terms of the funding allocated under the Universal Service Fund, funding allocated under MICT, plus then what has been generated under the regulatory levies paid by all of the service providers to CRAN. So I would appreciate it for future, Mr. Tuafeni, if we can really have a comprehensive report on the figures, because ultimately as the committee, we would have to account to the figures. We have seen the towers, we have seen they are built, we have seen that they conform to the specifications, community and members of the schools and even some traditional leaders have attested to the services being there, installed and working. But then just for us to have a really comprehensive understanding of the figures, we would really have appreciated. Thank you.
Over to you, Mr. Tuafeni again. It's over to you to just clarify those few issues.
Okay, thank you very much for the follow-up questions. Starting with the clarity from Honorable April. I think he still wants to know, why don't we have all the sites covered with 5G by now in Rundu? Well, I should say, like I indicated, the project is still ongoing and it's being implemented into phases. So please, we are coming. We are bringing the 5G to Rundu. And I'll also try to make sure that it enjoys attention in our planning boardroom, that there were questions. As to say, we already indicated last year that we have launched 5G, and we are only seeing one site with 5G in Rundu, which is a big town. Okay, and regarding the figures, we did not include the figures in our presentation, maybe not to point fingers, but we thought our boss, who is MICT, would have that in their presentation, in as to say, this is how much we have given MTC, and we have instructed them to construct this many towers. They have delivered. This is the change they brought back, or they have overspent with this much. But however, we have taken note of that.
Thank you very much. I think that clarifies the concerns of the two honorable members that came up with a follow-up. I would like now to make use of this opportunity to thank Mr. Tuafeni for the presentation and the clarification that you provided. And I would like to invite the Minister of Education to give their presentation so that we can release Mr. Tuafeni. He has to travel a long distance. Education, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Allow me to stand on the protocol already established. Well, this is the presentation on ICT from the Directorate of Education. What we have here today, to start with, we are looking at the questions that we extracted from the communique to education. The first thing that we want to address is what type of ICTs is available in schools. Also, how is ICT used for teaching, learning, and administration? Thirdly, we have which barriers limiting effective use? And the last one is what are the priorities for ICTs in education? Okay? Now, before we dive into that, I would like us to remind each other, ourselves, I believe MTC may have touched on this already. Let's go down a little bit of history lane. We have had NDP 1 where we introduced that 1G. We have had NDP 2 where we introduced the 2G, which MTC alluded to that it's said to be discontinued. Yeah. Then we had NDP 3 where we have 3G, NDP 4, 4G, NDP 5, 5G, within those years that are indicated there. Just for us to determine that, as for us in education, we are still at NDP 4, as much as we have just introduced NDP 6 now. As it regards to information technology, we are still there. Now let's take a look at the connection status. In Rundu Urban, we have 2G of 3G, 4G, 5G. 5G, you would only catch it if you are somewhere in Kehemu. For those of us who are around here, you will get 5G over there. My office is in Karapamwe Safari area. You will have 5Gs over there. And somewhere in town, if you go to Tungeni, Sauyema on the west of town, you have no 5G there. So I'm wondering whether it's really have to do with the number of devices, like MTC said. I don't know. Maybe we don't have a lot of devices that side. Well, let's take a look at the figures or the schools that we have with reliable connectivities. The schools that we have here mostly are those with reliable connectivities, including centers and community libraries. Number one, we have Rundu TRC, where I'm from, and the second office here, community library, is also having reliable internet. And just for your information, whenever we refer to reliable internet, I mean fiber connection. That is starting at least from 5 to 25 megabits upward. On the schools, we have Northgrens, Rundu Senior Secondary, Kamnoko. This was a newly connected school. Maybe it's not even a month yet. Dr. Romanes, the big school, Elia Neromba, Diaz, Kehemu Project, Jafet Ayambo, and Sophia Munjemwe. These are schools that we have on fiber optics. But maybe let me just also make it clear that the fiber optics we are talking of here, we actually get it from the other service provider other than Telecom, I mean MTC, but Telecom. I'm not sure whether someone from Telecom is here. We don't have Telecom today here. Could have been nice to have them here as well. Yeah. So, Rundu Rural, we don't have any reliable internet there. There's no school. Well, if you go on the ground, you'll find a school with an ADSL or WiMAX connectivity, which is the highest download speed that you can get is 2 meg. In this day and age, if you understand 2 meg, you will not be able to do anything. Right. Mashare, with MTC, we have 3G over there. I'm not sure whether it has changed now. And then St. Boniface have, I think it's a fiber line that is going in there. Yeah. Which brings up an interesting overview on Mpapama. Honorable councillors, is that one of yours, Mpapama? Yeah. Mpapama, we are now talking of 36 years after independence. And if you go to Mpapama, the school there still don't have connectivity. I don't know what type of topography or landscape is Mpapama situated on that we cannot overcome that obstacle. But until now, schools that we have in that area, they don't have internet. Over some years ago, the Directorate of Education has provided not internet, but computers, laptops to this school. Up till today, those laptops have gone obsolete, that they have never been connected to the internet, which is really a bad thing, I may say. Ndonga Linena, I think those are the people that really feels left out. Ndonga Linena, we are talking of WiMAX towers at Kanyumara. And then Diona, we have 2G and 3G WiMAX from the same Kanyumara. Nyangana, we are saying is to be deployed because through head office, there's a project there running to actually have all schools connected to the fiber cable. And last year or the year before, they started with the deployment already, paperwork and contracts and everything with Telecom mostly. And they supposed to deploy to 3 schools. One of them is Nyangana. Last week, Friday, the principal talked to me and he said the equipment's already on site. It's just to deploy the technology. And that Kamnoko that we were talking of earlier is part of the group, part of the team. Almost done. I have Mukwe over here, which is not visible on the screen. Then we have Divundu Senior Secondary on fiber. Rukonga Vision School is also on fiber, together with Andara. It's also on fiber. At least, apart from Rundu, Divundu is doing better as it relates to the number of schools that are actually connected to fiber. Okay? We move. We have an overview of 40 schools that are on fiber, who are some of them running ADSL, and then we have 7 who are on DDLT, and 13 schools running on fiber optics. So if we move on, we would see when we talk of WiMAX, that's the lowest of the lowest so far, 2 meg, which simply means, for your information there, the directorate or the ministry is paying a lot of money on those lines where we're not really getting our benefit, value for our money, especially for those 2 megs. Yeah, we can deduce that. So let's take a look at, let's just go back there. Let's take a look at this information that I have here. The pointer is working, okay. This one that I have here, it says we have 60 schools out of 172 that have access to internet. And that makes it a 34.8 or 9 percentage coverage within the region. Well, maybe may not be impressive, but that's where we are for now. Yes. Let's take a look at the ICT provisions in schools. This provision includes fiber and mobile networks supported by TRCs, second offices, and community libraries. Where you have a TRC and schools surrounding that center, and the TRC is connected, like my director said, most of the times these schools then comes to the TRC, to a certain library, or perhaps any other circuit that is connected to the internet. The availability differs markedly by constituency settlement. Some of them are still on this WiMAX. Telecom keeps telling us, I've heard this now for a number of years, that WiMAX is supposed to be discontinued. As much as it needs to be discontinued, we are also not seeing, or we are not introduced to the technology that should replace this WiMAX in our schools. Suppose we discontinue WiMAX today, then you know all those that are on those 2 meg, which is the majority, have no access at all, even though the 2 meg is not really doing much. Yeah. Some schools and communities remain without reliable internet access. I was referring to Mpapama, there it is again. That's a pain in the neck for so many years. It pains us because many a times it's us that have to, apart from the schools using these services, we also run training workshops that also requires these services. And when we go there, you cannot do much without these services. National ICT equipment deployment, I referred to that earlier. Phase 1 completed, 3 schools. Phase 2, we are looking at 6 schools that are already selected to be connected with the fiber optic. Perhaps by the end of this financial year, that activity will be completed through this national fiber connection through MTC. Out of the 17 schools for the term, for the phase 2, we have 1 school that is deployed already. In fact, when we talk of this, let me clarify this one. This has to do with equipments, not exactly internet connectivity. Yeah? We are talking of equipments here, schools to be capacitated and given computer labs. These are the ones we are talking about here. And this is the fiber connection. So far, we've started with 1. The second one is Nyangana that I just referred to earlier, which may be deployed very soon. So based on the fact that we are only considering the data that relates to schools with reliable internet service, which are 14. In actual fact, there are 13. The 14th one that I just added there now is the Matthias Tikundiko. I was there, when was that? Last week, first time. Yeah, I could see the reception there is very good. They're running over, is it 25 or 30? Yeah, meg per second, which is good. So we are saying that is also reliable. That's why my number is now 14 there out of 172. And that gives us 8.14% of internet coverage in the region. You can imagine. This may not be so clear to the honorables at the back there, but this is an outlook taken from GigaMaps. Anyone can go online and then put in GigaMaps. UNESCO has a site that maps all schools with all the internet coverages which is run, and then the average is actually calculated on how much data is going through per second. This is now Kavango East that we are showing. Yeah. Where you see a green, over there you have a number of greens. That means the connection is established with a certain site. And then the reds, not connected, those are a number of schools, which is the majority, basically. Blue is unknown. And the majority of them are in Rundu. Like I'm saying, even if it's not clear, one can go type in your browser Giga Maps, you will find it anytime at any given day. Let's move. Why should school need ICTs? The Honorable referred to schooling earlier. As I'm standing here now, my phone is being blown up by inquiries on schooling. Now it's end of the term, and we have issues with connectivity. Now, let me also emphasize that schooling, apart from issues with connectivity, we also have issues at national level, where this server sits somewhere in Windhoek. The server needs to be upgraded to cover and to actually withhold the overload of the whole country. At any given day, during the term, during the year, if you log in on schooling, the server will respond well. But we know for a fact that towards the end of the term, each and every school that is actually onboarded on the system will be online on the system. And that's where we see that the server is basically overloaded. Something needs to be done on that. And we've had schooling for so many years. We can no longer live with that fact that we should just accept it. Something needs to be done. What other ICTs do we need or do we use in schools? We have MS, annual education census is done online. Many a times you would see colleagues who are working under planning comes up with activities that they will invite all schools, eligible admins to come to the centers like TRC, and they would basically use the services there to complete this task. Microsoft 365 for collaboration. That's what we are training teachers on, including learners. Clever Touches for collaborative teaching. The ministry has gone to an extent where they procured Clever Touches, especially with schools that have AS or AS level. But I can tell you, given the history, that we are only at 8% coverage with better internet connectivity. Those devices are not really made use of nicely. E-services, online declarations of interest or whatever you have on e-services, you cannot even begin to fathom that schools will have access to that because there's no internet connectivity. If an email had to load for more than 5 minutes to download or just load for that matter, it becomes a problem. Access to quality educational resources. This one specifically. While my deputy director, Chief Colon for PQA, was trying to call me when this meeting started here, I had a meeting with NCRST talking about this one here. Access to quality educational resources, where they want to upgrade the plateau centers in the regions and perhaps put up educational resources that is tailor-made for Namibia. But we also need to run them on Moodle. If we are talking about running them through Moodle, that means schools need to have reliable internet connectivity. Otherwise, all these initiatives from stakeholders and everything may not be realized. Development of the 21st century skills. As much as we keep talking about ICTs improvement, ICTs doing that, but our priorities at times when it comes to realizing these activities, when it comes to budgeting, is just not visible. Because, mind you, I gave you an example of Mpapama that we have deployed a number of computers there that are going obsolete. The device that you have in your hands today will not be the same tomorrow. Technology that is being developed may not support it. My counterpart here from Telecom was talking about, MTC was talking about 2Gs. Phones with 2Gs will be affected if they cut off the 2G. The same with the internet devices that we have in schools. If we don't regularly supply and make the new changes regularly, the ones that you supplied 10 years ago are no longer useful. They are no longer useful. You cannot count them as devices in schools anymore. So therefore, we need to capacitate our learners on how to survive in the 21st century. Talking about it and doing something about it, it's two different things. So we need to start doing something about it. AI teaching and learning tools. I like the question that was posted earlier to say, in the wake of Corona, the word was learn from home, teach from home, work from home. But truth be told, that teaching or learning didn't happen at home, and we know why. Yes. Therefore, to pave way for those type of activities, God forbid should Corona come back again, we can no longer go into say we have failed now. When we had the opportunity to learn from COVID-19, to see whether we can now change the way we do things, and see whether AI teaching and learning tools are available for our schools. It starts from connectivity. I'm really a bit disappointed that Telecom is not here, because most of this that I'm talking about now here is based on their infrastructure. Okay? Schools also want to promote research and independent learning, increase learners' engagement and motivation, strengthen collaboration among teachers and learners, and promoting equal educational opportunity for all learners regardless of where they are or where they live. It's only ICTs that will be able to make it possible for us to realize that. Otherwise, it will be more talk, and year in, year out, our learners will not benefit from this. Let's move. Opportunities of ICTs in education. We have youth coding initiatives for phase 2, which one of our schools is part of, and teachers and learners are being introduced to platforms such as Office 365 and Moodle, Notemasters, and of course, YouTube. There's a lot of learning content on YouTube, and also other apps as well that can be accessed only if you have reliable internet service. ICTs is named as one of the levers of change in the National Conference on Education Project Charter. But as much as it's prioritized on paper, we are seeing less done. We also have Alpo, it's supposed to be Alpo, eh? Alpo Mbamba Senior Secondary onboarded with Huawei Smart School. It's a good initiative, and I believe it's running as expected. This school is one of those that also need to be onboarded with the fiber connectivity. It's located right here in Rundu. Some of the barriers, integration. We are talking about insufficient pedagogical training that leaves many teachers unable to integrate ICT effectively into lessons. That one is very important. You find teachers and they lack significant integration part or knowledge on how to integrate effective ICT usage. Maybe we also need to talk to UNAM and others on that one there. Resistance to change among some schools, school management and staff slows to adapt new technologies. We still have that. It's a fact that we only do things the way we have done them yesterday. And if something new is introduced, it takes years to be adopted, even though it's something that could be good for that individual or that school, for example. Yeah. Shortage of ICT skilled teaching staff in rural circuits constrains delivery of digital literacy outcome. Somebody earlier on today said teachers find it hard to stay in rural areas because of connectivity. It's a fact. Existing computer resources are mostly obsolete due to inconsistent deployment plan, limited connectivity, technical support, and maintenance capacity. As it relates to education, all schools, 172, we put them on one technician to handle. It's too much. Something also, maybe that was then when those establishments were done, that a region like this should only be taken care of by one technician. But what we are facing now on the ground is showing that one technician cannot support all those 172 schools. Maybe for now, that not all of them have a lot of equipments, but if all had equipments, one would struggle. Something needs to be relooked at as of relates to the establishment of the region. One IT technician is really not doing much. Research in Rundu Circuit School found that inadequate infrastructure and unreliable connectivity limiting classroom use on digital tools. All right? Yeah, I'll be quick on this one. What hinders ICT use in schools? Weak or unstable services, gaps in fiber. When it talks about gaps in fiber and mobile coverage, you talk about unreliable power for network. There's a tower at Kavango that has been standing there. I'm not sure whether colleagues knows whether it's now running. I'm not sure as the update as I'm speaking right now, but it has been there for a long time as well. High service, this one here, and data costs from service providers. The reason, maybe the main reason we want to always run with telecom is because services are affordable. We have a number of schools, schools like Matumbo Ribebe, those of you who are aware of where it is. Schools like, not a school, but the Teachers Resource Center at Shinyungwe. Yeah. Then we have schools like Omega. I can use those three examples of those schools. They are running on a 4G device because we do not have telecom infrastructure there to give them better service. They are running on a 4G device from MTC. That's basically, the package gives them 120, is it 28 or 20? 28 gigabits per month. And the cost of that 28 megabits per month is plus or minus 1,200. How many of us are using 28 megabits per month on our phones? Even on our phones, we use more than that, just for one person. So you can now imagine for a center or a school. Within a week, that data is completed. You have to wait for the next month to be reloaded. But with the TN Mobile now on telecom, you would have a flat rate on plus or minus 900. But the challenges of TN Mobile, you would only find it reliable here in Rundu. Even here in Rundu as well, it's not so reliable in other areas.
Yes,
So,
Mr. Kand,
yes,
you are doing well, but consider time.
Thank you very much.
Try to wrap up.
Thank you very much. Well, the cost of data is very expensive, especially when you talk about services from MTC. And they are the ones that has reliable internet or reliable connectivities in the region as compared to telecom. Inconsistent supply of equipments. And we talk of supplies to schools, TRCs, that's supposed to be TRCs, not TRS, and libraries. No provision for ICT budget at school level. Here we're just trying to say schools also need to have a budget for their own ICTs development plan at school level. Schooling self overload, we have touched that one. Insufficient local ICT support and maintenance, I've also touched on that one. We can move now. Now, recommendations. We're talking about the revised ICT policy that is still at NPC, if I'm not mistaken. I'm told reliably that policy is still there, being discussed. Perhaps it's on final stage, but it have come a long way. Perhaps if it's finalized, maybe it will shed some light on how to move across with some of these ICT bottlenecks in schools. Yeah, establish a minimum ICT baseline for every school, review resource allocations for staffing and funding, align targeted staffing to today's needs, yeah, determine and secure school ICT funding, prioritize unserved and low connectivity areas. Yeah, Mpapama again. Equipment for TRCs and libraries to serve as school support. In the olden days, some of the colleagues, some of the posts or individuals that you'll get at TRCs, they had titles like education technologists. In this day and age, they can no longer function that good without technologies at those centers. Perhaps it will be interesting to find annual reports on progress regarding coverage, quality, and affordability. I don't know whether service providers will do that or maybe MICT will do that. Somebody have to account. On an annual basis will be interesting, important. Thank you very much. I think that's it for today.
Thank you very much, Sakando, for the presentation. Now it's 13:37 according to my time. I don't know whether we have to break for lunch and then come back and pose questions, or we continue. Let's continue. Okay, then I would like to give the floor to first Mr. Tohafeni to make some observation, and then we release him to go because he's traveling long distance. Mr. Tohafeni, some observation and also something to take with you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for the platform. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. Just to see how our schools are connected and where we still need to work hard to make sure that we have them all connected. Well, I see most of the schools you are using telecom, and maybe I will just encourage you that you engage telecom regarding the 2 meg that you are getting, just to make sure that you get proper capacity for you to be able to connect properly to internet. Yes, you have indicated that MTC is the most reliable service provider. However, you have also realized that reliability comes with cost. I'm glad that you have realized that as well, but all in all, we just need to work together as operators, the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of ICT, and see how we can better serve our young ones. But we take note, and we are looking forward to engaging with the ministry and see where we can offer maybe subsidized solutions.
Thank you very much for that observation, Mr. Tohafeni. Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, you have listened to the presenter, education. So most of the services that they are receiving is from telecom, not from MTC. MTC is here with us because of the service, the Universal Service Fund, to which they were contracted to construct those towers and provide free Wi-Fi for 7 years to the nearby schools and clinics. But they are business-oriented institution. They look at the market where they can put up something so that they can get something in return. Telecom is mostly like a more governmental. So they do social services and they do not get more funds. As a result, they cannot, keep up to the standard. So try to consider MTC to come in and improve the service. Unfortunately, I cannot speak on behalf of the telecom. Maybe they are here. They will speak on their own behalf. If they are not here, that's the unfortunate part. Whenever we are engaging with them, telecom, MTC is there to provide service, but at cost. At cost. Education also, you should budget for that, for that cost in order for you to get proper services. So I would like to open the floor, and before I do that, I would like to release Mr. Tohafeni. Please travel safe. Once again, our condolence. Before we go, before Mr. Tohafeni goes, is that Mr. Kalei? Mr. Kalei wanted Mr. Tohafeni to lend his ear to him before Mr. Tohafeni leaves. So Mr. Kalei is the son of
yes.
Honorable Kalei, the former Deputy Minister of Education.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much for that introduction. But I surely believe that I came here with my own capacity to actually ask, yeah. So I've been in the industry for a long time. I started with Ministry of ICT 2011. The government started with telecom. But looking at where we are going now, you can clearly see is MTCU keeping up with the NDBs. So I just wanted to ask, there's an aspect my colleagues kind of alluded, apologies for that, but it's on cybersecurity. So we asked the last group that came to actually present about cybersecurity and the cybersecurity bill, data protection bill, but there was an aspect missing, which is recovery. You lose your money, someone steals your money, 15 million. Decide I go to jail for 5 years. I still have the money. So service providers, internet service providers, because it's where the crime is happening. MTC. We are dealing with schools now. They can be ransom cases like they can ransom the server on your network. Yet even with just stealing your phone, sometimes it's difficult to trace. We just want to see where is MTC in terms of this crime, like ICT crimes that are happening. Because on ICT bill, if you look at it, we even asked the director for ICTD, like where's recovery for the person who might lose 15 million? Is there a way to hold the internet service providers accountable, or maybe the banks, or some way? I mean, it's massive money that can be traced. Are we not having something to protect our people? Now we are bringing these services to the schools. How are we protecting the young ones? There are some websites that exist here. When you go to India, you will see that the government have blocked those websites, like for black markets and other things. How is MTC coming to be held accountable to say, if something happens on these websites, how are we protecting the Namibians around these websites? Or is it just going to be that I'm a profit-oriented, I'm just going to provide, there's no age restrictions, there's nothing on I'm not seeing any age restrictions, even innovations. Just wanted to ask on that, just for the government, since we are going with MTC. Thank you.
So again, cyberbullying, data protection, and everything. Yeah. Some would draw back to us, lawmakers, to make law.
All right, thank you very much for the question. It's quite a very important question. I think throughout our journey, you always get this question. Some will even refer to the fact that the SIM cards are registered, and we still have people scamming others. So what is the role of MTC? Well, MTC is the service provider. We give you connectivity, and we equally work together with the law enforcers. So if you steal someone's e-wallet or someone's phone, it's not MTC that will come and look for you. No, that is the work of the police, the law enforcers. All we'll do is to help. And while we are still there, we were equally asking, I think it's when we were in Kunene, to say, now that we are providing free Wi-Fi to schools, are we having measures to make sure that these kids are only having access to, let's say, educational related websites, or they are left on their own to access any? So I believe that is something that together with the MICT, we need to look at and say, well, let's make sure that we block certain websites to make sure that our kids are protected. Because as it stands, they can access anything. And you are right, it's not supposed to be the case. Okay.
That is the answer. Yes, I think with that, we can now please release Mr. Tohafeni, please. Thank you very much. Okay, we agreed to continue, maybe up to 14 hours. Then we break for an hour. So we've got, yes, the floor is open for clarification, comments. Yes, Honorable. Yes.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I really enjoyed the presentation. I really followed well and enjoyed. I have one or two questions. The first one would be in terms of the ICT budget. You have indicated that schools must begin to incorporate ICT in their budgeting. My question is, how do you see this budget for rural schools? How do you see it for urban schools? And what are the items that could potentially be covered under that budget? Then you've touched on the clever touch devices, that the devices are there, but they are not used. So my question there was, is it a training and capacity issue? Is it that people don't know how to use the devices, or is it just an issue of incorrectly procured devices? So is it a training issue, was the question there. And then I think, Chairperson, the free Wi-Fi, if the free Wi-Fi does not come with the associated hardware, we could sit with a problem. Coverage would be there, but if the devices are not available for teachers and learners at schools, the free Wi-Fi would become or could become redundant. So I think as a committee, we should also start looking at the issue of hardware. I think the Ministry of Education has highlighted the issue of computer labs that are not operational. Some have obsolete equipment and devices. If we could perhaps really look at, for total digital integration and optimal benefit, how hardware could also be incorporated into this entire process. We really want solutions to work, and I think the Universal Service Fund is a good initiative, but let us try and do as much as we can with the little resources that are there. So thank you for your very, very good presentation.
Yes, Honorable Mdombi. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation. What I have seen is frustration. I'm so frustrated after having heard this. I think it's more so a lesson for the lawmakers, rather than us posing questions to the Ministry of Education. So some of these things needs to be taken deliberately, because you will learn that if you look at this percentage, 8.14 for the whole schools on this region. So it's not similar to all other regions. Why? Why is it so? There's a problem with coordination of, be it now ITC, whatever ministry, MTC, there's a problem with coordination. So, and who is to coordinate? If such a question can be posed, who is to be good, to coordinate? As probably through the chairperson of this committee. So I think it's good that you come to regions and learn frustrations of this nature. I think it's high time. So we stopped talking and asking questions and become deliberate into implementing things that needs to be implemented. This is the same government, for goodness sake. The same government, but some parts are failing. Who's failing who? So this is, a lesson for lawmakers to see to it that things need to be coordinated, and everybody, all regions need to start benefiting. More so, ministries like education. So it's a very crucial ministry. If you have learned only Rundu, and if we speak about the schooling program, people leave their schools, more so teachers that are required to do the uploading of the system. So they leave areas and come to Rundu. More so for 3 weeks, they are not at their schools because there's no internet connectivity. I think people from Windhoek, if you are given 3 weeks to live without what we are experiencing here, I don't know how you will feel. But we are so frustrated. The government in many ways is failing our people. So as the Parliamentary Standing Committee, when you collect information of this nature, so do much. See to it that things are coordinated. We are called the policy maker for what reason? To do what? It's high time that we become deliberate and attend to matters that are frustrating this nation. So I think this is my only input. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Ndubu, the chairperson, and then Honorable April.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for Standing Committee for ICT. I hope that during the presentation for education, I can see that the whole region is almost one technician who can take care for all the schools. And our schools is almost 300 and something, ne?
100
Yes, 100 and something. Then that person will be dealing again with the teacher resources, and also he will deal with the laboratories. It's a lot for that person to complete his work. Therefore, we appeal from this committee who are present here through the chairperson that point can be considered also. At least from each circuit, if we get one, then it will be better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mine is not necessarily going to be a question, but more, I guess, an observation. One is, first of all, to really appreciate the presenter. One could see that he speaks on something he knows that he is responsible for. Thank you for that very enlightening presentation. We have seen what the struggles are, but also the positives that come with the struggles that you endure. Mr. Chairperson, my question is more about, probably it would, unfortunately, so the telecom leadership is not present here because we came on a particular mission, which is more MTC linked. And therefore it is definitely, I think, understandable if they are not here. But since we are in the entirety responsible for ICT, I think as an oversight committee, maybe as a way of recommendation that we use the information that we get that was presented in the presentation to make a recommendation that as much as services are brought to schools and entities, I have noticed that effective performance of those services for the benefit, for the reason for which they are brought to those institutions and entities are really not happening. So it's more like having a car, but the car does not have a proper battery. You have to kickstart it, something like that, for a lack of a better allegory. So maybe we can work around a recommendation to encourage telecom to please efficient and make their services more effective. That is basically my observation and a small contribution on the presentation itself as it was presented. Mr. Chairperson, I have a different, what you call it, blazer or a jacket that I have, which I necessarily do not pack, as much as I'm very much conscious of the committee I'm sitting in right now. But mine is also just a kind appeal from the other jacket that I have to the education director. I haven't been to the school as yet. We were not, we're only going there tomorrow. But from what we have seen elsewhere in the other region, your neighboring region, Kavango West, the teachers and the learners' teaching environment is very deplorable. And I do not know how planning happens in the education sector. You cannot plan a school without ablution facilities. You cannot plan a school without a teacher accommodation. So these things were really sadly so absent from the schools we have been to. And I think it's a challenge because my understanding, myself as having been a teacher once in a while, I think education is a whole package, Comrade Director. Oh, sorry for Comrade, Madam Director. And it's the environment, not just the classroom job, but the environment also equally plays an important role in education being rendered as a package. So I'd like to, in case we have such realities also in the other rural schools in Kavango East, that the Ministry of Education in its budget provision should also start to small, but also with speed, concentrate on uplifting and bettering the environment of teaching for learners and teachers. That was just an appeal, my director, not any judgment or something. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable April. I think there's some questions for Ms. Angela and then Mr. Tangeni.
Through you, Chairperson, the presenter mentioned there are schools that has equipment lying due to lack of connectivity. If possible, that we can get the list of that to be part of our report. Thank you.
Thank you for the floor. I only have one question on the school link where you said, you spoke about the server in Windhoek, which could be also a contributing factor. I was checking your recommendation. What is your recommendation might be on that issue or suggestion for the server you said in Windhoek? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the floor again. Let me react on a few questions or comments that came across. The first thing maybe to amplify to this August House, especially to the committee, to really consider the talks on subsidizing MTC data. I think that will help us a lot. Where telecom cannot save us, we already have MTC. It's time to think about subsidies with this telecom MTC data that is so expensive. If we can have Matthias Shikundiko with a good internet service for 7 years, why not consider other schools that are in the same category like Matthias Shikundiko, at least on a better price than what we are unable to afford right now as a directorate. Good. The second question was on ICT budget for schools. Yes, the idea here is, the thought process here is perhaps when the budgets are allocated and then disseminated to schools, it comes with conditions, what you should do and what you should not do. Perhaps part of the budget should also be a dedicated ICT budget. Nothing much, just for to kickstart the procurement of items or equipments at the school level. That's what we are thinking about. That we all know the deployment of devices in schools takes time, and it has taken time. And for now that we are talking about those 6 schools to get computers, it will still take time. But at least if a school had a budget, when they receive that internet connectivity, they would at least use their own devices to connect to the internet. Another example will be the same school that we are talking about, Matthias Shikundiko. Maybe due to lack of communication with officers, because we at the directorate, we didn't know about Matthias Skundiko getting the services they got until later on, when other schools are inquiring the services that you gave to Matthias, why can't you give us the same service as well? Yeah. But due to that fact, what we noticed last week, I was there with a number of colleagues, that there's a desktop there sitting in the office without internet, but the internet has been there since March or somewhere in those months. So we could have done justice to the school as well. So devices are very important. When we deploy technology, when it relates to internet, we need devices to use the internet with. Today you go there, you'll find teachers complaining about we use our own laptops and there's no provided items or equipments from the ministry. To respond to that question, I think that's how I will address it. That's the thought process. Talking about the other one, the third question was on clever touch devices. Well, I would say we have carried out training and we are still capable to carry out training. The problem is still internet. Internet connectivity is bad in those schools that need to improve. That's our call. If we can only just improve internet, I believe things will move. Yeah. School link. Yes, well, this one here is very interesting. The server, to our knowledge, for the information of the committee, is that it gets overloaded with it gets overloaded with users, especially around about this time towards the end of the term. And by now we have seen that each and every year is the same thing that is taking place. Can we increase storage, memory on this date, on this server? What is it that can be done to actually be able to take the load for the country? That's what we want to see. That year in, year out, we should not complain about a server on a national level, for that matter, that it keeps being overloaded like that year in, year out. We just need something to be done on that. And I believe they know maybe what to do. I believe maybe the process has been started, procurement processes, but for this house, for this committee, you need to be aware. Follow-ups perhaps need to be done. Thank you very much.
I understand the colleagues from the town council have got another meeting. They need to be released, but we said we have just to finish because there's only one presentation left. If they are presenting, Minister of Information and Communication Technology, it's one presentation. Yeah, before I give the floor to the Ministry of Information, I wanted to clarify this. Unfortunately, Honorable Marcellus Mudumbi is not here. We need to clarify. Our law-making process is to come to the people and to give us their input. Then we put it in the report, make recommendations, and the recommendation, that report is discussed in Parliament. Once it's passed, it becomes a law. And this committee is an extension of Parliament. Parliament is not an implementing agency, institution. The implementing institutions are ministries. Parliament is to oversight over the ministry, the executive. You supervise the executive. We give them money by approving the budget. And then they are the one proposing, we wanted this amount of money to do this. We want this amount of money to do that. Once we approve that money, we come and follow up to see whether they really spend that money for that particular program which they have submitted to Parliament. That is our coming here. And you give us, you feed us, whether really those projects have been implemented, whether the funds has been spent on that project. When we go back and say, okay, these are our findings, Parliament now will ask the ministers to clarify. So that's our coming. We are not the one doing implementation. And that is a misunderstanding which I'm picking up here. So, but you are open to give us everything so that we can go and represent you. Let me at the same time acknowledge the presence of Honorable Mbangu, who just joined us from another meeting. Welcome, Honorable Mbangu. We are about now to finish. Maybe we give the floor to the last institution to present. Before I do that, I can see one of my secretariats insisting there. Mr. Rwako, the floor is yours.
Yes, Honorable. Thank you for giving me through you. I saw what you presented today. But one thing that I observed, those green dots were only along the river. Have you realized that? So inland, it's red. Are you telling me that even the Ministry of Education advised that only a website or the line to connectivity must only be next to the river or next to the road? Or there is no have been an initiative for the ministry itself to say, no, we have school inland. Because even when we came, before we came here, we went also inland. There we were at Kavango West area, the last school that we went to. So I'm just trying to edge, or I'm just trying to be maybe a devil's advocate. Is it only across to the river that you really need more? Because I've been to Kokomba. Number one, there's no road. Number two, there's no connectivity. So already that's why you lose teachers rather than coming back to Rundu than having teachers there. So also maybe I'm urging maybe the ministry through other means, as my chairman just alluded to now. Maybe looks for a way also that you get the things also down there so that teachers can stay in those areas. I thank you.
Okay, well, the ministry is arranging their things to be in order. There was a question as to how the free Wi-Fi came to Matias Sikundiko Primary School. That is the answer that we're supposed to get from you, educators here, as to how you prioritize your schools and submitted it to your headquarters, and the headquarters submitted it to Minister of Information and Communication, and that has also given it to CRAN. Because this Universal Service Fund is just a fund that comes from those institutions that are licensed to provide connectivity. And then the government adds to that fund. And the purpose of this fund is to target those the most remote areas. I think the minister will touch on that one. I don't want to preempt their presentation, but maybe if they'll leave something, we'll come in again. The floor is yours, madam.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I would just like to request that you bear with me. I'm a journalist that is scared of public speaking. My name is Menete Tunemanyahi Avali. I think there are some new honorables that joined us, and before they came, they found that we already introduced ourselves. I just wanted to respond to two points that were made before I go to my presentation. One on the budget for the network tower. I just wanted to say that I will not touch on that because it's beyond my pay grade. The minister's office deals with those high-level kind of things like the towers. We are just informed when we are launching. And then secondly, in terms of reporting, the network connectivity, there was a time where the ministry had a program where we would go in the field and then we would assess the network. But for now, it's on hold because we were advised that the way in which we assess the network is not how the network providers are doing it. So the gadgets and things that we are supposed to use, we don't have, we used to use our phones, but for now it's on hold. And then just the last one concerning MICT should work towards blocking some of the channels. I think this can be done by the regional council as well. I know here at the council there are some channels that we cannot access on our network, and I think the ministry can do that. It does not necessarily need the intervention of the ministry for us to block some of these channels from being accessed by the learners at the schools. I know at our office we don't access Netflix, so it's something that can be done.
Madam, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The town council, the Rundu town council, has got a council meeting that starting at 14 hours. Now it's 1:15. Maybe we can just excuse them to go and continue with their council meeting. So thank you very much, colleagues, for coming. As leaders, we need to listen so that we can really provide direction. Thank you very much. Madam?
Thank you, Honorable. Can we? Okay. I'll not go through the table of content. I think we can just start since we are trying to. Okay. I will also mostly be paraphrasing through the presentation so that it's just easier for us to understand without the necessary jargons that we usually write on paper. What we do at the office, which we I think know, is that we serve as a bridge between the public and government, and then we facilitate the dialogue and feedback sessions, meaning we go to the public, get from the public back to government, and from government back to the public. And we usually do this with the assistance of the other ministries when they provide us with information that we then take, or when it directly comes from government to the ministry. It ensures that the public concerns are heard and addressed through proper channels. Okay. So the MICT has a senior information officer, myself, 2 information officers, a media officer, an engineering technician who deals with sound, an administrative officer, a hygiene officer, and 1 driver. We just recently interviewed. It was done during my annual leave, so I'm not even sure yet of when they are going to start, since I was out of office for 3 weeks. We also house New Era and Nampa. The office has a recording studio and an internet cafe adjacent within the office premises. One of the responsibilities that we are entrusted with is information dissemination and collection, which means we go in the field, we collect data for developmental activities, and then we also give feedback to citizens on a quarterly basis. So we have programs that we undertake where we are mostly field operators, and then we then take to the community what was given to us. And from when we come back, we then also bring back reports as to what we found on the ground. This information is used to support regional planning, reporting, and national decision making, because sometimes you find a request from government that says we would like this information, and if we don't have it, then we have failed at our duty. The ministry also plays a role in ensuring that government remains informed of the grassroots realities, which we might not know if we don't go in the field. Nyangana? Okay. We are also entrusted with campaigns and activities that the ministry leads, and we also are the custodian of ensuring that national holidays are commemorated. And we go to schools and then we do exhibitions. We also have panel discussions on such public holidays and campaigns. Now, some of our main campaigns are the Nationhood National Pride campaign. We also deal with the road safety. The national symbols is one of our latest one that we've been doing for the past, I think, 4 years, which is also very important. And we also collaborate with the Ministry of Gender with their GBV campaign, along with malaria and all the other ministerial campaigns that we are involved in. So the aim of the ministry being involved in these campaigns is to foster unity, patriotism, and national pride, and also to convey information to the masses. We also do news coverage. If we were not live streaming this event, we would have provided a news story to NBC. We also write to New Era. But like I said, New Era and NAMPA also sits in our office. So most times we collaborate by ensuring that if maybe one entity is attending, then we don't need to. But if it's an event of a high magnitude, then sometimes we go and then we cover different angles of the same story. Yeah, these stories are shared on the news, on NBC, on our radio stations, and we are now moving towards the digital era, or we've already moved, so we are also then live streaming such events. We also have the GIC in the region. We were one of the last regions to receive GIC equipment. I think the last installment came earlier this year. And with the GIC, it plays a crucial role because it ensures that the public has access to accurate and timely information. And we facilitate community outreach activities, town hall meetings, direct engagements with the public across all constituencies. These sessions also promote transparency and strengthen trust between government and citizens because the information is given on time. We don't need to wait for 8 o'clock news to receive the information. We are also live streaming regional and national events. The ministry is entrusted with ensuring that all national and regional events are live streamed, and we provide this service free of charge to all government institutions, and then we just charge a small amount to parastatal and the rest. Yeah. These live streams are also shared on our social media, and also we have a slot on NBC where if it's a national event, then obviously we'll get a slot and then we'll live stream it on there, both radio and television. We as an office conduct digital literacy across the region. And this digital literacy is a training that we provide for free to young people between the ages of 18 and 35. And our aim is to ensure that government services that are provided online, cybersecurity awareness, we conduct all these trainings so that our youth can access opportunities that are only available online. And this is where the network connectivities plays a role, why it's important that we have network connectivities to ensure that young people have access to all these opportunities. The session targets not only learners, but educators as well, youth, traditional leaders, and vulnerable groups. But then we have a limit because we don't have enough resources. So we try, for now, we have only done, I think, one session with the Ministry of Education. The rest has been with the youth. So far, on record, without the current students, we have trained 1,200 students within the region, and it's across the region. We have a studio recording and multimedia production services at the office where we have a recording studio that produces educational content, public service announcements, jingles, interviews, and promotional videos. All these are done at the office. We charge a small fee For some of the services, if it's not government, but mostly with government, some of the jingles, if it's for a campaign, we then don't really charge because the instruction comes from the ED's office. Yeah, these materials are used to support ongoing campaigns and ensure that information is disseminated in a locally relevant and engaging format. Content is created in multiple languages and made access to a wider audience. I remember during COVID, we had an issue where we were producing content that were in languages that we were not allowed to, but I had to explain to the colleagues that we are, as a ministry, we are not bound by personal feelings. We are bound by the law, so we had to produce content in all the languages spoken in the region. We also do community video screening. We call it BOSCOP here. The ministry screens educational documentaries in remote communities to increase awareness on national development issue. We also screen, like I said in the beginning, public holidays when we have maybe Kasinga or the August, 26th of August. We then take videos of that will help us, educate Namibians on the importance of public holidays and so forth. So these sessions bring information to areas that do not have access to formal media. Like some of the communities where we go, they might not have access to internet, but we use screens and sometimes we project on walls just to ensure that the information is given. Yeah, we are also interested with the distribution of government information. We call it information dissemination. We work closely with regional stakeholders, ministries, and civic organizations to plan and execute communication initiatives. Educational materials are developed in multiple languages and adopted for various audiences. We have the regional newsletter. We were having Kavango Stream, but this year we decided to incorporate it into the regional newsletter. So we have moved away with Kavango Streams. We are now working together with the, what is the person? The PRO for the regional council. And we are working towards establishing a regional newsletter that encompasses all activities of the region. And we also then do marketing of government publications, which includes the Namibian Constitution or the Constitution of Namibia, the Namibia Review, magazines, and all policies that we might get from various ministries and so forth. All that material, whenever we get it, then we go and distribute it to within the region. We, like I said, have moved now from the, what do we call, traditional media, and we are now moving into a digital era. So the office has a Facebook page that is slow in followers, but we are moving. We have 13,900 followers plus. As of today, and the ministry produces and shares content there. I think we are one of the popular pages in the region, if I may say so, because our content is really engaged by the community. On this page, we share videos, photos, infographics, and voice notes that we produce. Yeah, and these tools allow real-time engagement with citizens and national visibility for the region's development efforts. We do have quite a number of challenges as an office. One is that for the past 10 years, we have had a budget cut. I remember there was a time 2-3 years ago when our budget was just 80,000. It was moved 1 year to 800,000 and then cut again in half. So at the moment we are standing at 477,000. That's the budget for the whole ministry. And all these new activities that I was talking about, the live streaming and GIC, are new activities that were given to the region without having a budget attached to it. So we are forced now to really make do with a very little budget that, as we are speaking now, we have run out of our budget even. So we might have to not provide the service that we need to because of budgetary constraints. The vehicles that we are using, if you drive with it from here to Divundu, when you come back, you have to ensure that it goes for service because it might break down midway. So the office is really in need of a vehicle, at least a 4x4, or as it done for maybe official travels. This year, I don't know, this is more administrative, but then it's ICT, so I think we will take what needs to be taken. But yeah, for information's sake, the removal of Vote 101 from the regional offices has negatively affected us because we are unable to procure what we need to procure. Before, when we needed computers, it was easy for us as an office to just say, okay, we will go and procure maybe 5 laptops for our training in digital literacy. But now that this budget is with head office, they have to prioritize what's important to head office, not necessarily to the regions. So that has negatively affected us because now we are running with 4 laptops that are not really conducive if you are training 50 plus learners in the constituencies. At the office, at least we have some desktops that we use. And our boardroom does not also have chairs. It's not decapitated, but it should be dilapidated. Our chairs have been very bad. I remember before, I have been in the ministry for 14 years, and when I came, the furniture that I found, it's still the same furniture that we are using. And you can imagine how bad it looks, and especially for the newcomers, at least us who have been in the ministry understand that the budget constraints, but with new staff that are coming and you have to give them a chair that does not have these handles, it's unacceptable. We also, I don't know if in the other regions, my colleagues complain that the position of a regional head remains a senior, which goes against the decentralization manual that says, government officers should be headed by at least a control or a deputy director, but with MICT, we are still fighting to get the position elevated to at least even a chief or a control information officer. Also, we don't have the position of a receptionist, and we also don't have a laborer. And like I said in the beginning, we have a library or internet cafe. Now, imagine we already don't have a receptionist within the office premises itself. Now, outside, we have an internet cafe that we now had to divide our information officers that are already overworked. We have to give them that responsibility, meaning some way, somehow, something will not be done because these 2 people now have to do work that is meant for receptionists. And also in terms of labor, like I said, our budget is already very, very small. Now we have to pay for laborers to come and clean the office, which also leads to the budget being depleted. Had we had a laborer, it would have been better. Yeah, our staff are completely overworked. The workload really requires more hands, but for now, a staff complement of 8 can really not do much. We also don't have an ICT center because with an ICT center, we can then divide the work of the ministry. But for our region, because we were divided at some point with Kavango West actually benefited from the ICT center that was within the 2 Kavangos. So for now, our office does not have one. To conclude, we would just like to say, above all, that the ministry remains committed to promoting development through open and inclusive and responsive communication, and by connecting people to government and ensuring that information flows across all corners of the region by supporting Vision 2030's goals, 2030 and the goals of the 6th National Development Plan. And I thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. Yeah, I think we are killing two birds with one stone. We're not only here for Universal Service Fund only, but we are engaging in detailed activities of the Ministry of ICT, which is good for us. It will save us time. The floor is open for questions, comments. Yes, Honorable Mbundu.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Just a quick one. Thank you very much, Madam, for your good presentation. So I just want to have a quick one. So you mentioned that you are having at your premises, you are having a internet cafe. Its accessibility to the community or to the student if they want to do their work. And also if you do so, maybe how many dashboards do you have at your facility? So the second one, in terms of private event, do you also do a private event in terms of fundraising? Shooting videos, for instance, like for weddings and other events, I mean a funeral. So let me end there because I don't want to waste the time and we are over time. Thank you.
Any other members coming in? I can see there, Mr. Kalei.
Yeah, it's a bit discouraging when it's your own colleague, but we are sharing the same problem. And if I see some problems which you are having, it's not being expressed well, I think I should stand up and say what the problem is. So first of all, we appreciate this MICT in the regions, but unfortunately only 2 departments were decentralized, which is audiovisual and print media. Now it has come up with multimedia services. So I thought on the live streaming she will at least touch a bit on live streaming, saying our challenges is coverage. If there's no internet, we cannot live stream. Let's say Kasote, we cannot live stream. Wherever we cannot live stream, it's where I wanted to see the challenges be. And even with the car, I thought she would say there's no infrastructures, it's what's damaging the cars. So I wanted it to go that way. Yeah, just on this program of implementing towers, I alluded it with the last committee, I think it was 2015, where I said the idea of having print media and audiovisual represent us on this is not right, because for us who have studied now for IT, we feel like there are certain things that are not touched. Government has their own kind of like internet service provider where it gives government services. I don't know if you heard of e-service, you have e-service, you have IFMS, all these that are running, but it only runs strictly with telecom towers. That's why I was trying to ask the person from MICT, from MTC. I didn't really get the right answer, because what we should ask that person is, show us the towers you are sharing with telecom, because as government we are disadvantaged. We don't have IFMS running on these towers of yours, only YouTube that's reaching the masses. So that's what I wanted to see. And also, just beg to her to say, it's up to us to make sure that the children do not have access to this. But what's the point of saying, okay, we are giving drinks to the school, we'll add alcohol. It's up to the teachers to say they are going to give alcohol to the students or not. Why don't we stop it there already to say, we don't need it at the schools at all? So I cannot speak because I'm not a director there to speak. I'm just here at the region. And number one is her. She's only one technician for 7 seconds, 7 seconds, 3 libraries. And then you have 127 school. Be it me, I'm the only IT also serving all the decentralized offices, meaning that they don't decentralize with technicians, they just decentralize. There's a cleaner for the buildings which you are seeing, drivers for the cars, but you don't see IT for the computers. They don't see maybe and the structure is from 2011. Things are coming, we have servers, we have all these things where I feel like cybersecurity is supposed to be touched by me. Part-time, I'm a part-time lecturer, distance lecturer for NAST since 2013. And 2014, I was also a lecturer, part-time lecturer at UNAM. I see how ICT is evolving in the regions, but be it government is very far. You can go to another country now, they are on 5G or 6G. When you come here, you will see that I'm still in 2011 or 2012. So let's really look at the problem. Tower implementation, Ministry of ICT, it should be the Department of ICT development, not the Department of Print Media and Audiovisual. That's why we are still in this case of having one tower being assigned here. Landscape in Kavango. We can have a tower here, but believe me, people who are at Rundu Beach won't be able to access that. We are not looking. So the government is trying to uniform how they distribute. Everything is just uniforming. Towers, uniform. Structure, uniform, one technician. But it's not the same. We are not like Windhoek. We have more schools. Everything is being uniformed as it's given down here. So I'm at the point where even if I'm a government representative, I feel like we are not at the ground, we are not represented. So it's not for her, it's not personal, it's for the nation. It's a national question. They should change certain things that are there, especially with the government services. We can have Ndiona there with MTC, but believe me, we want to find the funds that are given at the settlement offices to come here electronically. Not them to have internet access, but they're just accessing YouTube. They have to drive here to come submit the money. It's also not right. So just look at it from that perspective. Miss, I know you are in charge of that office, but I feel like they are not doing you well by telling you go there. Digital literacy, like I said, I'm a lecturer. But be it in government, it's not me educating the students on literacy. It's not my role, it's MICT's role. And it's media officers giving that lesson. Do they know about encrypting, MDP5, ND5 encryption, or things that can actually protect these computers? They don't have the knowledge to go beyond to tell them how the first computer was made. I feel like we are left out. I'm not sure where the government is going even with the digital literacy program. So we have only 3 or 4 in government, staff member, IT. Yet, NAST is producing, UNAM is producing. Are you really telling me unemployment, we cannot say a technician, at least for Ministry of Gender, 1 technician for where it's lacking, to just help us, because you are contributing to the unemployment. These people are well equipped to do IT, but then when it comes to decentralization, no IT staff. We have to leave our offices, go and fix, come back again to our office. Doesn't make sense. Thank you very much for that.
Yes, Mr. Nzala, I wanted to say something before I can give to Honorable Mbangu.
Through you, I just want to request if the presenter can say something about their internet cafe, if they have. If she can also say something about rural ICT centers, if they have. And then, yeah. And their studio, if the community comes and they charge, if we can just touch on those, then we'll be able to do a thorough comparison.
Madam, I think you're taking note. Honorable Paul Smangu.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members. I'll be very brief. Sorry, I came late. I was in a meeting. I'm rushing to another meeting again. It will start at 3 o'clock. I wanted just to bring one thing under the attention of the committee. In 2021, CRAN provided its position paper to the Ministry of MICT because they carried out a study, the network coverage, the whole country. And in that study, in terms of that, the report, they identified 3 regions that have the poorest network coverage in the whole country. And that is Kunene, Kavango East, and Kavango West. And I thought maybe if the committee can engage CRAN, so I can provide that position paper that they gave to the ministry. And what the ministry have done to close the network gap that CRAN pointed out in 2021. So submit, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Angola. Oh, thank you very much. We definitely, before you leave, Honorable Mbangu, we wish to have CRAN here, but they did not turn up, even in the other regions we were. By that time, they were in Botswana and so on. But we scheduled, yes, a program to meet them after all this, to meet them, yes, as a committee in Windhoek. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. I'll leave with 2 questions, if I allow. I just wanted to know on the structure you presented, is it the same? Did you benchmark it is the same in all the regions, or is it only for Kavango East? And then number 2, on the budget you present to us, is it for, if you can say more about, is it for operational only, or you for other services like furniture and all? Are you also allowed to do those? Thank you.
Yes, now give the floor to Madam to answer the questions, and please all presenters share your presentation with our secretariat so that we can really make use of it to draft our report.
I'll start with the last questions and then I'll move up. Our budget does not include capital project because that one is done at head office, but we are supposed to have a budget for furniture, material, and then the S&T, and I think cleaning materials and also stationaries, those ones. But unfortunately, every year when the budget comes, the ministry can just decide, this year we are giving you furniture. Then they will give you maybe 100,000 for that. And then the next year they'll decide, no, we are taking it back. Then the other year you'll see that the maintenance vote will be given to you. And then this year they said, no, we are taking it back. As of now, we are supposed to have 5 votes, but we only have 3 because 2 were taken back by head office. So the maintenance vote and the vote 101 that we used to buy furniture was taken by head office. So we are unable to fix, even if the door cracks now, and like our doors are having biometric system, meaning Ministry of Works cannot fix them. So we need to hire an outsider. We have to go through head office for that. And this is something that can be done through the regional council. We don't necessarily need to go all the way to head office for that, but unfortunately, we are not consulted. So for now, we only have S&T, then we have now the cleaning materials, and then we have the stationaries. And that budget alone should be for S&T in the regions. I remember when I joined the ministry, we had 1.3 million budget, but now we are only having 400,000. And that 400,000, it's nothing. If you put in the training, I mean the vote 27 where we have to have training, I don't even know of anyone in our office since I joined the ministry who was paid for by the government to receive any sort of training because the budget just does not allow for it. So we have people who need training, they either have to pay for themselves or not receive training at all. Okay, the structure is across the board, is with the whole ministry. I know I'm one of those people where maybe at head office they think I'm the problem child because I always complain when it comes to the structure. But we really have been fighting for the structure to be amended, but we are always told that, you know, it's, I don't know whether it's Public Servants Commission or the Prime Minister's office, but somewhere, somehow, there's always someone who is not approving the structure. So we are left with this structure, and it's all the regions. We don't have an office that has a receptionist or a laborer. We just have to hire. We used to use interns, but even with interns now, you have to have a budget for that. Okay, this one for Kran, I think it's beyond my pay grade. Okay, the internet cafe, we do, in my presentation, I said we do have an internet cafe and we do allow the public to make use of it, but we are also using it for training. We use it for our digital literacy training that we conduct. And then we also have a studio that is also accessed by the public. They come in, they book for sessions, and then they can make use of the studio. But we also use it for our GIC. So we are trying not to put too many people, to have too many people coming in and out because of the state of equipment that we have in the studio now. It's quite expensive, and if they get damaged, like I said, we don't have a maintenance vote. You have to be at the mercy of head office. So we are trying to bring in only one or two recording sessions, just to ensure that at least we don't have people who are coming and stepping on the cables and so forth. Unfortunately, we don't have an ICT center. We do have an issue. Previously, before I joined the ministry, there was an ICT center in Rundu Rural. That one, if I say it now, it will bring me in trouble, but maybe outside I can explain what happened to that ICT center. And the other one that we had at Mukekete was given to Kavango East. So unfortunately, now we are trying to get one up and running, but we still need the budget and we still need equipment. We had written a letter through to the minister's office for her to maybe lobby for someone, some of her friends, you know, all these relations that they have as ministers with other countries, and we get equipments. But for now, we are still waiting on that response. And also with head office, there was some discussion with the regional council so that regional council can provide a venue. I don't know how far that went, but yeah, we are working on it. Hopefully next year we'll have an ICT center. With the contribution from Mr. Kalei, really, it's good that you brought up the issue of internet. Yes, we cannot live stream and we cannot conduct JSU without internet access. But we as a ministry must now not really complain about something we are supposed to provide to the public. That's why I left it out for others to bring out that situation. That's why I omitted to discuss that part. But maybe to just put your mind at ease, the basic literacy training that we are doing, we don't involve coding, we don't involve web designs, it's very basic. What we want to do is to, like the government's literacy program, is to get people to read A, E. So for us also, that's how basic it is. We just want someone to be able to see that this is a computer, this is how you open a page, this is how you write your CV, this is how you upload your CV onto the internet, this is how you search for jobs online, this is how you read articles online, very basic literacy training. And if we have to give you feedback, we have a number of students that were employed in variety of institutions just from our very basic training. That's why we are always fighting for it. And also we will work on training the trainees. as soon as the budget improves. Okay, in our internet cafe, we have 5 desktop computers that we are using, and we complement it with 4 laptops, but 1 laptop we had to now take it away and give it to our engineering technician because unfortunately we just recently hired her and we don't have a budget to buy equipment, so we had to take from what was already in the office. So for now, we only have 3 laptops and 5 desktop computers that we are using to train. And these are the same computers that we carry to the field. We were very lucky because the Ministry of Education has been very helpful to the ministry and they have allowed us to use their computers previously. There was a situation where they were not having a venue. So I think with their assistance, we can still continue to fully implement the program in the constituencies. We do cater for private events, weddings and funerals and so forth, but unfortunately we are understaffed. Like I said, I've been out of office for 3 weeks, and when I come in the office, someone else will go, and we are just, how many technical people? We are 4 or 5, I think, if I exclude myself being the supervisor. So you can imagine how many invitation comes from government officers alone because this service is for free. We have 5, 6 invitations that are coming per day to attend to events. I know I had to cancel a lot of requests this morning that wanted, one wanted speakers, the other one wanted live streaming. So we are already disappointing government officers, let alone now if we have to venture into the private requests for funerals and weddings, we will not be able to cater for them. And also the speakers that we are using are really not compatible with what do you call them? These generators. So the generators, many of our requests from the villages, there is no electricity there. So if we have to use a generator the whole day on our speakers, they will be damaged. So unfortunately, we have to decline most of those requests because we will either go there and then come back and not attend to a very important government. Not that those are not important, we are just prioritizing what we can, what we can handle. Oh, and the issue of overtime also. Yeah, overtime is quite expensive and we will not be able to cater for it. I think if I have not left out. Yes, tell me.
So, honorable members, if there's no more critical questions, I would like to I can see the honorable still consulting there.
She was concerning community. I don't know whether they are called community radio. We do have 2 radio stations that are private, Rapids FM, and then there's one for the church. The Seventh Adventist Church also have a radio station. I would lie if I say they are community radio station, but with Rapids, we do have a good relations with them because they easily avail slots for the ministry to utilize. So whatever we need, they are always available for us to use slots at the station. And we have NBC Wato is stationed in the region, of course.
Yes, I think we should put our hand together with the mother. Thank you very much, Honorable David. I hope. May I request you to give a vote, to move a vote of thanks on our behalf as a committee. Then we'll give the floor back to the owner.
Very good. Thank you so much, Chairperson. I'd like to take the opportunity on behalf of the ICT Standing Committee to thank really all the stakeholders that have firstly attended to this important session. and secondly, contributed through various presentations, enhancing our perspectives as legislative representatives that will make the laws. We have taken note of the contributions we've received from each and everyone in the room, and our secretariat also, together with us, were noting the contributions that were made. These contributions really enhance our perspectives, so we appreciate it. There was a comment from the MICT presenter that if I say this here, then I will be in problems. Now, we are the bosses of the legislative arm of state that have oversight over executive, so you should not be afraid to highlight the issues that you see in your ministries. We are here to fix issues, and when we say that, it is not just in words. We are really serious in terms of addressing the challenges that society faces. So with those words, I would like to really thank you all.
Thank you very much. I would like to give the floor back now to the host to close the meeting. Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for the Parliamentary Standing Committee for ICT to come down to the regions and go down to the constituencies. Really, you are still here in Kavango East tomorrow to visit the constituency, one of the constituency schools. And you will drive in that sandy road, which you are speaking that we need roads also. Therefore, really, the Director of Education, we appreciate you also to come with your officials to present your challenges and how we can improve it. And also, our honorable members who are present here from our region, we thank you very much that we're having a week. Last week we started with many meetings, but even though we split ourselves to attend everyone to attend one meeting, but even though we put our effort, and this will improve our 8th administration office for our president. If we move like this, our communication will be improved. Not only that the parliament, they are just in Windhoek, they are just there for central government, but it's good to come down and visit us. And really, MICT officials present here, I can see you that you work very hard to put this discussion or this engagement on a live stream. We thank you very much, everyone who's present here. Drive safe.
With that, the engagement adjourned. Until next year.